How's it going, everybody? This is Beat the Bush. Today's topic is about living for free, and you'll see why when I talk about mortgages. But first, let me catch you up on other random things I've been doing. I have gathered all my CFL bulbs due to my newfound hatred for them, and now, I gotta find something to do with them. And today I've just been so busy with my own personal business that I hardly have time to even cook dinner. But I still cook something, and sometimes I find shortcuts to it. This is the ultimate shortcut here because I have some chicken wings in the fridge. I'm planning to make some Korean fried chicken with it, but this is much easier. A zucchini, a veggietini thing that I make noodles with, this is the vegetable intake for dinner. Remember that bread machine I took out earlier? I just want to emphasize that I do use those things regularly. This piece of bread I made myself, and it makes a loaf about 8 to 10 slices. How easy it is to make your own fresh bread, and it only costs about $1 in flour basically. For bread, you just mix in 3 cups of flour, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. It called for 1 teaspoon, but because I can make my own, I'm like, I don't want to add in that much salt, so I put in a 1/4 teaspoon. 1 cup warm water, 2 tablespoons white sugar, a 1/4 ounce of yeast. This is about 1/3 a packet of those normal ones that you see. 2 tablespoons of butter and 1/4 cup vegetable oil. Now that's not that many ingredients, and I seriously think it probably took me 2 or 3 minutes just to measure out everything and stick it in the bread machine. After you do it, you press start, and fresh bread comes out after 3.5 hours. Yes, you put in $1 of ingredients, but 3.5 hours later, you get a brand new fresh loaf of bread. The bread machine, what it does is after you mix in all the ingredients, there's a mixer at the very bottom. It goes and kneads the dough and stuff, and then after it finishes kneading it into a ball, it just waits a while, and then it lets it rise by itself, keeping it at a nice temperature. And then after that, that's why it takes so long, then it bakes it. So all of this is just a one-step process, and it goes to show how little it costs to make some of this bread, which like 2 or 3 slices of it costs about $1/4. And then I just use some of this skinless, boneless sardines in pure olive oil. I just kind of mix it up into like a paste. And so instead of a tuna sandwich, I'm making a sardine sandwich, which is really good to me. So these sardines is about $1.25, $1.50 each. So the whole meal, it's about under $2. Now that's not quite free, but it's really darn cheap and it's really good to me. Now here's an interesting thought where you save an amount of money, not quite as much as your mortgage balance, but something, maybe half of it. Then what you do is use the gains or the dividends from this investment and use that to pay off your mortgage. So what you essentially end up doing is you hold on to some amount of money that is less than your mortgage balance. And then you're using that to pay itself. And if you hold any money more than that, then you're essentially paying yourself. Let me explain this a bit in more detail. For example, let's say you have a $100,000 mortgage balance that you still have to pay in your home loan. If you got a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, these days it's about 4%. Let's call it 4%. So every single year, you're going to end up having to pay $4,000 of mortgage interest. Now, the easy shortcut way of finding how much it actually costs you is really take off 25% of that. It's easy to take 25% off of 4% because that's really 3%, which means after your mortgage interest deductions, you're going to end up paying $3,000 out of pocket. Now, let's say you have $100,000 and you don't quite go and pay off your mortgage because it's not advisable if you have exactly the amount, because you need some emergency savings. You need a little bit of cushion because once you pay into the mortgage, you can't take it back out. You could use that little trick of home equity line of credit, but I'm not going to talk about that today. Let's say you just have $100,000 and nothing more, and you put this into PCK, which is a tax-free municipal bonds for California. So if you stay in California and you get the dividends from it, you don't have to pay tax on this. There is no income tax on this dividend. Right now, it's about 5.7% or so, but let's just call it 6% of $100,000 is actually $6,000 a year. This is more than the interest that you would be paying into your mortgage. So instead of paying off your mortgage completely, you can hold on to this fairly safe investment. It's not completely safe, but municipal bonds do have a slight risk to it. There's a little bit less risk than stocks, but there is a risk nonetheless. So as you're holding on to this, you can think of it as you have $3,000 of this dividend and you just go, okay, I'm just going to take this and put it into my mortgage as they need payments. The rest of the $3,000, you can take it and pocket it. And the principal amount, you still have to pay principal amount into your mortgage, could be thought of as kind of like a savings account. You no longer have to pay interest anymore. So just for holding on to this money and not giving it to the bank by paying it completely off, you're going to get $3,000 a year just for doing nothing. This is why I call this video Living for Free. $3,000 means about $250. This is after tax money here. This will buy you a lot of skinless, boneless sardines. Now let's think of this another way. You don't have $100,000 to put into your mortgage, but let's say you have $50,000. Now you put $50,000 into your PCK, or I don't really want to keep on recommending this. There's other bonds out there that you can get, maybe different bonds for your particular state that is also tax-free. Now 6% on $50,000 is actually $3,000. So this will also completely pay off your interest portion of your mortgage. Now, when you have this money sitting there, it's kind of like, okay, it's working itself against the mortgage here. So over time, you're not actually taking your own money to pay into this mortgage. We've all seen those 30-year mortgages where over time, you're essentially paying for close to twice the amount of the principal. In this case, just for holding that money into a fairly safe asset over here, you can use this to fight off the interest that they're charging you over here. At the same time, if you have a hard time of qualifying for itemized deductions, then this paying of interest here might push you over, therefore pushing you into this position where things could be itemized. I hope you guys enjoyed this thought of balancing out your mortgage interest with some investments. Take a little step further, you can have a little bit more in there. Not quite the full amount of the mortgage, but a little bit more, enough to pay for the property tax as well. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to give me a like on this video. Comment down below. Let me know if you're doing something similar. If you're interested in supporting this channel, I have an Audible link down in the video description below where you can get a free audiobook. And if you don't like this audiobook, you can cancel it before the subscription expires and you can still keep this audiobook and also help benefit this channel as well. I also have a Patreon link over here where I give perks such as help with your credit score or help with your finances. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to my channel over here and click that bell icon next to the subscribe button so that you get a new notification whenever I upload a brand new video. Thanks for watching.